podcast When Does Brahms Come In? I'm Sophie, and today we're going to have a talk about one of the most influential classical music composers of all time, Ludwig van Beethoven. Perhaps everyone has heard his name, even if they cannot immediately name his works. Beethoven is played and listened to all over the world almost 200 years after his death. Beethoven had started to study music because of his father. He realized that his child was talented at the art of music and began to develop it. The father of the future great composer was a failed singer, so he wanted his son to have achievements in music, not like him. In early childhood, Beethoven learned to play the harpsichord and violin. For a long time, composer didn't know his real year of birth. His father said that he was born in 1772, though it was 1770. This was done to create some kind of illusion. According to his father, talent seemed more significant if their age was younger. Beethoven wrote his first composition at the age of 12. Around the same time, he left school in order to support his family. Therefore, Ludwig's knowledge in maths was very poor. He couldn't even multiply or divide numbers. The composer had 6 brothers and sisters, but 4 of them died quite early, and because of that, by the age of 18, Ludwig became the main income for the family. You've probably heard Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. It appeared in 1801, and the composer himself never named it Moonlight, but simply number 14. The inspiration for this piece was Countess Giulietta Guicciardi, who was his student. Beethoven wrote to his friend that he was in love with this girl, and the feelings were mutual. But soon she gave her preference to the Count, who also was a musician but quite ordinary in his work. Giulietta decided that Count had more chances in life than Ludwig, so she married him. Moonlight Sonata is a work about unrequited love, hopelessness, and the bitterness of loss. Beethoven wrote 9 symphonies, the most famous of which are 5th, 9th, and the 3rd. The first notes of the 5th symphony are heard constantly, every day, all over the world. It is believed that this masterpiece was created over the course of 3 years. It was the longest history of the creation. The premiere of the symphony was unsuccessful, but since then everything has changed. Beethoven himself said that in the first movement, fate is knocking on the door. The first 8 notes of the composition are the knock itself. You can't disagree with that. British novelist Edward Forster said that Beethoven's 5th Symphony is the most sublime noise that has ever penetrated the ear of man. Ludwig van Beethoven owns the famous Heroic Symphony. It was written in honor of Napoleon, his fate and heroic activities, because Beethoven considered Napoleon as his idol. And this is not the only work of the composer that was inspired by historical events. Beethoven introduced innovations into the musical world, and this was expressed very clearly. His 32 piano sonatas trace his life, tragedy, and experiences. In his youth, Ludwig van Beethoven began to lose his hearing, and by the age of 46, he became completely deaf. His last 9th symphony was written not only for the participation of an orchestra, but also a choir. No one had ever done this before Beethoven. He had very poor health and died quite early, at the age of 56, from liver disease. Brahms adored Beethoven's work, and in his pieces you can hear the response of the brilliant Ludwig. And Brahms' 1st symphony was even called Beethoven's 10th, because Johannes relied on the style of his musical ancestor. Johannes Brahms even said that composers in the old days used to keep strictly to the main theme, but Beethoven varies the melody, harmony, and rhythm so beautifully. There is nothing more beautiful than giving happiness to many people, Beethoven himself said, and his music gives happiness while listening. Brahms will come to see us again, but for now, see you soon. This was When Does Brahms Come In podcast, and sincerely yours, Sophie.